Breaking news! Something big just went down in Miami, and trust me, this could change everything for the Dolphins season. The kind of move that could either push this team closer to the Super Bowl or completely blow up in their faces if they handle it wrong. And let me tell you, the drama behind the scenes is real. We're talking about contract battles, bold trades, and a rookie that the front office was desperate to grab, even jumping ahead of a division rival to get him. But here's the question that nobody's talking about. Did the Dolphins already make a mistake before Jonah even plays his first NFL snap? I'll explain exactly why I think so, and it has everything to do with Chris Grier still running this team. He should have been fired a long time ago, and yet here we are, watching him gamble with this roster again. But before I give you all the details on what's really happening behind closed doors, smash that like button if you're a true Miami Dolphins fan, especially if you've been riding with this team for over 20 years. And if you bleed aqua and orange like I do, drop this in the comments right now. Go Dolphins! We can get to the Super Bowl. Now, let me tell you what really went down and why this move could either save this offensive line or turn into another Grier disaster. It finally happened. The Dolphins have signed Jonah to his rookie contract, ending what felt like an unnecessary and embarrassing saga. Jonah, the 37th overall pick, was the only unsigned Dolphins draft pick, and it dragged on far too long. Miami eventually gave him a fully guaranteed 4-year rookie deal worth just over $2 million annually. It's not a huge contract, so why the delay? Did the Dolphins cave? Were they trying to play hardball over pocket change when they traded up for him because they believed in his talent? This is exactly the type of nonsense that drives fans crazy with Chris Grier still in charge. You trade up to grab a guy you love, then fight over the guaranteed money? Come on. But at least it's done now, and Jonah can finally join the team for training camp. And let me tell you, this kid could change the entire dynamic of the offensive line. He brings versatility we desperately need. At Arizona, he started at right tackle, then switched to right guard, and even played snaps at left tackle. He can slot into multiple positions, but all signs point to him starting at guard in Miami, most likely right guard, where I believe he fits perfectly. His run-blocking skills and zone schemes make him ideal for Mike McDaniel's offense, which thrives on outside zone runs, tosses, and stretch plays. Jonah isn't just big and physical. He's athletic, smart, and built for this system. This is exactly why Miami drafted him instead of a player like Tyler Booker from Alabama, who struggles in space and fits better in power gap schemes. Jonah is tailor-made for the Dolphins, and he's already drawing comparisons to elite guards in the league. Veteran James Daniels even said Jonah reminds him of Isaac Sumalo, one of the best guards in football. That's high praise and a sign that the locker room is already impressed. Jonah is hungry, texting vets for advice, staying late after practice, working hard. This kid wants to be great. And let's be honest, this offensive line needs greatness. Last year, the unit was flat out embarrassing. Bottom 5 in PFF grades, bottom 5 in pass block win rate, bottom 6 in run block win rate, and dead last in rushing first down percentage at a pathetic 20.7%. That is unacceptable and the main reason the offense collapsed late in the season. It's why Tua was under constant pressure and why the run game disappeared in short yardage situations. If Jonah is as good as advertised, he could be the spark that turns this offensive line from a weakness into a strength. The Dolphins have gone younger and more physical this offseason, moving from one of the oldest rosters in football to one of the youngest. Jonah, James Daniels, Aaron Brewer, Kenneth Grant, Zeke Biggers, Jordan Phillips. Miami is building a trench-first mentality. And let's not forget, Miami snatched Jonah right from under the Patriots, who were reportedly set to draft him with the very next pick. That's a win in itself. But here's the question that matters most now. Where exactly should Jonah play? Right guard, where he'd be sandwiched between veterans Austin Jackson and Aaron Brewer for stability, or left guard, where he'd line up next to rookie Patrick Paul, forming a young but potentially dynamic duo? Alright, picking up right where we left off because this is where things get really interesting. The placement of Jonah on this offensive line could determine just how effective this group will be. Not only in pass protection for Tua, but also in opening up the run game that has to improve if Miami wants to contend deep into the playoffs. I've been watching this team for years, and I can tell you one thing. You can have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Raheem Mostert all you want, but if the offensive line collapses like it did last year, it won't matter. So let's break this down like a chessboard because that's exactly what it is. One wrong move, and this whole line falls apart. Jonah at right guard makes the most sense for one simple reason: balance. Think about it. You already have a young left tackle in Patrick Paul, who is a first-year starter. Why on earth would you pair him with another rookie and risk communication breakdowns on the blind side? That's asking for disaster, especially in big games where Tua needs every fraction of a second to get the ball out. If you put Jonah at right guard, you slot him between Austin Jackson, who when healthy has been solid, and Aaron Brewer, who was a top 10 center last year. That's stability. That's how you ease a rookie into the NFL. Surround him with veterans who can guide him through his first season. It's just smarter football. Now, some argue that putting Jonah at left guard next to Patrick Paul could build long-term chemistry between two young, athletic linemen. And look, I get the logic. Both are physically gifted, and they could grow into a dominant duo in a year or two. But this team isn't trying to win in 2 years. The time is now. You don't gamble with Tua's health or risk sabotaging a Super Bowl window just to develop chemistry for the future. Jonah is NFL ready, yes, but you still have to put him in the best position to succeed immediately. And don't forget, this offensive line was one of the worst in the league last year. They were soft in short yardage, couldn't move defenders off the ball, and had almost no push in the run game. That has to change. Mike McDaniel's offense depends on consistent zone blocking, creating lanes for stretch runs, and giving Tua the ability to play action without defenders crashing down instantly. Jonah's athleticism and ability to get to the second level is exactly what Miami has needed for years. If this offensive line stays healthy, and that's a huge if, the Dolphins could go from being one-dimensional to finally having a balanced attack. And that's the key to beating teams like Kansas City or Baltimore in the playoffs. You can't just rely on throwing the ball 40 times a game. You need to be able to grind out first downs, control the clock, and wear defenses down. Jonah can help do that, but only if this coaching staff makes the right decision on where to play him. I'll say it again, right guard should be his starting spot, at least to begin the season. Build confidence, build chemistry with veterans, then you can think about moving him around if needed. Another thing worth noting is how big of a cultural shift this represents. For years, Miami was known for bringing in aging veterans and trying to patch holes instead of building through the draft. This offseason, they finally changed that, going younger and tougher. Jonah represents that shift perfectly. And let's be real, this wasn't Greer suddenly getting smart. This was desperation. He's been on the hot seat, fans are fed up, and if this offensive line fails again, there's no excuse left. It's playoffs or bust. Greer surviving another failure would be a disgrace. Now here's what I want from you, Dolphins fans, because you're the heart of this team's energy. Do you believe this offensive line, with Jonah starting, can finally be a top 10 unit in the league? Can they stay healthy enough to give Tua the protection he needs and open up the run game? Or are we setting ourselves up for another disappointment? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Type top 10 if you believe this line can be elite, or same old Dolphins if you're still not convinced. Before you go, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned because I'll keep breaking down everything that's happening with this team as training camp unfolds. And don't miss the videos on your screen right now. I've got full breakdowns of the offensive depth chart and how Miami stacks up against the AFC's top teams. Go Dolphins! We can make this the year, but only if this O-line finally does its job. And let me add this, because it's something every Dolphins fan needs to keep in mind. This isn't just about Jonah, it's about setting a tone for the entire franchise. For years, the Dolphins have been known as a flashy team with speed on offense but soft in the trenches. That has to change if we want to be taken seriously as a true contender. Jonah's signing, the youth movement, and the focus on physicality are the first real signs that Miami might finally understand that games are won in the trenches. But understanding it is one thing, executing it is another. If Jonah develops the way many believe he will, this could be the piece that solidifies an offensive line that's been a liability for way too long. But that's a big if. The Dolphins cannot afford another season where the offensive line ranks near the bottom in every major statistic.